All right, on this episode of the LPDS, we get into sports updates. Yankees for baseball, Giants for football. We got, what else we got? LPDS life updates. And we cover a little bit of the undercover operation updates in the Junction. And for the Swifties out there, a little Taylor Swift update action for you. All that plus a Cage fact coming at you right now. All right, Jabronis, we're back. Welcome back to the Libretti Podcast Diary Show. I'm your host, Libretti, show that talks about nothing but tries to find the lessons in everything, and we have a good time doing it. I, I'm recording this Saturday night for October. I waited till the end of the evening to record this last minute because I wanted to watch the Yankee game to provide as current updates as possible. And all that did was fuel my bad mood. And I don't want to be too negative about the Yankees right now, recency bias, but they just got absolutely bent over a barrel by the Blue Jays in game one of the division series. They lost 10-1. And it was from the first inning on, right from the jump, they were stink city. Luis Heel pitched 2.5 innings, maybe. I'm not entirely sure why he started game one. The only thing I can think of is that it's not an elimination game, and while it's important to get the first game, maybe they were just thinking they're going to save their aces for when it matters more. And Luis Heel has the potential to really be lights out, but he's also a wild card. He is a hit or miss kind of pitcher, and some days he's absolutely lights out, like best in the business, and other days he's a poopy. And unfortunately today he was a poopy, and basically every pitcher that the Yanks put out there was an absolute nightmare, and they just got shellacked 10-1, just out-hit, outclassed, out everything by the Blue Jays in game one of the ALDS. But the good news with all that is that they made it to the ALDS. And that was I should have just recorded this before game one against the Blue Jays, but they had a good series against the Red Sox. There were some mistakes. Game one, pulling out Max Fried early. Bonehead move by Boone, going with the analytics geeks, the anal nerds that never played baseball in their lives. And they lost that game mainly because of that. Now, they weren't hitting. The Red Sox had Crochet pitching, who's dominant, and they knew it was going to be that way. But they removed all chance of success once they pulled Max Fried, in my opinion. Bonehead move. But they came back and won the series. The next two games where Don pitched pretty well. The team did pretty decent overall, enough to win, obviously. And then Cam Schlittler, the rookie, came in and absolutely dominated in game three. 8 innings, 12 Ks, no walks. Just unbelievable power pitching by Cam Schlittler. He dominated them. Absolutely dominated them. But you could see where the holes are in the Yankees' fundamentals. And that's always been what has worried me the entire season. On top of that, we also talked about how Boone is not really a good manager at all when he actually has control. And you could see in game one of that series against the Red Sox, he deferred to not having a control, essentially, just going with what the analytics geeks suggest and pulling his pitcher early. So even when he has control, he doesn't. He just reverts back to the easy, like, this is the safe bet. This will keep my job. And in all seriousness, he should have left Schlittler in all 9 innings in game three. I was actually surprised he let him go to the eighth because that's after the seventh inning he definitely wanted. You could tell he was sweating. He was thinking to himself, "Oh, these analytics guys are gonna tell Cashman I didn't listen to them and I didn't pull him." You could tell how nervous he was, and he definitely wasn't going to leave him in for a complete game, but he should have and save Bednar's arm a little bit. But whatever, they got the win, so I'm happy that they moved on and knocked out the rival Red Sox. But they got to figure it out here against the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are a better team, and they're going to capitalize on the mistakes that the Yankees make, and they're going to capitalize on poor pitching as well. So fingers crossed Boone gets out of his own way, and also the Yankees, figure out how to play fundamental baseball again overnight. Otherwise, it's going to be a quick 3-and-out for them against the Blue Jays. But I'm hopeful. I'm always hopeful. I always want them to do good. There's really only one person I know. I'm not going to mention any names. She shares a last name with me. But there's only one person I know that wants them to do bad just so they can gloat about being right that the Yankees were bad. I want to be proven wrong all the time when it comes to the Yankees stinking it up. I want them to shove it down my throat and say, "Look, we won the World Series. We don't suck, despite your opinions and your predictions." And I'll gladly take that L. So we'll see how it goes. However, I do have to comment. I didn't get a chance to do it last episode, but the last couple weeks have been incredible sports weeks. If you're a sports fan in general, if you like competition and action and games that matter, the last couple weeks were incredible sports weeks. Because you had the end of the regular season where there was 5, 6, 7 teams playing for playoff spots in baseball and in the MLB, going right down to the last games. You had football, the last week of college football, 2 weeks ago, whenever you were listening to this, I don't know. It was like high-profile game after high-profile game after high-profile game. All the best teams were playing each other. Electric action if you like college football. And then you had the Giants game with the rookie quarterback, Action Jackson Dart, going in for his first game. And regardless of the outcome, I should have put this out before, but regardless of the outcome, it was a great stint of sports action. Tons of things to watch and enjoy and get be a part of, get involved with. And it just so happened that it worked out pretty well for the teams I root for, the Yankees and the Giants. Because the Yankees, even though I wanted them to win the division, they still won out the last several games of the regular season, and they did all they could. Now, I can go back and argue that those games in May, June, July, when they were the worst team in sports, how much those mattered, why I bitched about them so much back then, because they would have won the division, got a bye, and wouldn't have had to play Boston in the first place. But now they're playing extra games. Toronto is coming off the bye, refreshed and ready to go, and the Bats definitely showed that for them in this game. But, again, great week of sports. The Giants won a game. I'm shocked. They beat an undefeated Chargers team who was supposed to be a top 5 team in the NFL. And they won with the rookie quarterback. it was a dirty win. They were in the trenches. They were playing Giants football, making a lot of mistakes, but they did end up capitalizing on the fact that the Chargers played horrendously, and they snuck by with the victory. And I'm hopeful. I was watching Action Jackson play, and he made what I would say would be all rookie mistakes. All the mistakes he made were things that I would absolutely expect a rookie to make just based on lack of experience and trying to get your feet underneath you in the NFL. Things that I'm hopeful that he will learn from and improve upon. Now, if he does this 5 years down the road, then he's a stinky quarterback. You got to get rid of him. But I'm hopeful that he's going to learn from these mistakes. He's got some good mentors in Russ Wilson and Jameis Winston there. He talks to Eli a lot. So I think he's got the tools to be good and the ability to improve as long as the Giants don't leave him out to dry with a terrible O-line. They got to figure that out. Because he's not going to get a chance to throw the ball if he has to scramble and run constantly. And we all saw what happened to Daniel Jones with that. Miraculously, Daniel Jones goes over to a different team, and now he's Indiana Jones. He's going to be an MVP quarterback because he has more than half a second of protection to do something with the ball. It's crazy how that works. We've been talking about that for over a decade now. But Giants win. Yanks advanced. Real bad start to the ALDS, but I'm still hopeful. Not a bad sports couple of weeks. And I have to try to be better at. I revert back to old Libretti when I talk about sports, which is finding the negative and honing in on that and always talking about how bad they are. I could sit here all day and talk about the mistakes the Yankees made against the Red Sox and what they currently did against the Jays this last game. But it's not going to change anything. I have no control over the team. And I have to remain hopeful. I'm changing the mindset. I'm continuing to learn, grow, and improve myself and change the mindset a little bit so that, maybe my brain recircuitry transfers over to them somehow in the ether, and they start playing better and they start succeeding more consistently and start playing fundamental baseball and good Giants football and what have you. I will admit I am very much used to only talking about when the teams that I root for stink. And that's how I was raised, and that's how I grew up. Even with my own sport, when I played sports, I always honed in on the things I did bad instead of the things I did good, focusing on the good and the productive and leveraging that in the future. So I'm gonna get better at that. I'm working at it, and that's really all I got to say about sports this week. We're just going to get right into it because there hasn't been much going on for me this week to bitch about or rant about. So with that, let's get into the good stuff. Let's step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
All right, today's Into the Cage segment is proudly sponsored by the Snack Sneaker Belly Bags. Fran's Fanny Packs does it again, this time by helping out all you cheap, freeloading fatzos who want to crush a whole bunch of snacks at a movie theater or a stadium event, but don't want to pay the extra cost at the venue. The Snack Sneaker Belly Bags are custom-designed fanny packs to make it look like you are sporting a fat gut, even though most of you probably already are sporting a fat gut. But it has a hidden pouch for you to load up with candy and treats and all the different kinds of what-have-yous that you want and go right into the theater completely undetected. The Snack Sneaker currently comes in black gut style, white beer belly style, muffin top white trash Tammy style, and fat hairy Italian style. So to get your extra snacks into the movies today, visit www.fudgepacker.com, and if you use the promo code BellyButtonBonBons, you get 29% off your first pack. I would never wear those. My ego would never allow me to sacrifice my efforts that I make with my diet and exercise to even make people think I had a fat gut like that at that size. I can't do it. Like I said, my ego won't let me do it. I'll just pay for the snacks if I want snacks, or not get them. I'm not sneaking. I usually just get popcorn and like one thing of some Reese's or Butterfinger, some sort of chocolate treat. That's it. And that's at the if I'm going to the movies, which is rare these days because it is too expensive for me. I'm going when I know I can afford the popcorn and the Reese's. That's it. I don't need a belly bag. I'm not going to even make people think I'm fat and lazy and out of shape. I work too hard on myself in that regard to lose the ego and the shame for to save a couple bucks on snacks. But there's a lot of people out there who would. So get yourself a snack sneaker today. Anyway, the Cage fact. As we've discussed previously years ago, Nic Cage was briefly married to Lisa Marie Presley, Elvis Presley's daughter. Now, when they got engaged, he gave her a $65,000 engagement ring. And throughout their engagement, even through their 3-month long marriage, they were constantly fighting, breaking up, reconciling, fighting, breaking up, reconciling. That was like their entire relationship. And in a recent book that I believe Priscilla Presley came out with, Elvis's former wife, mother of Lisa Marie, she talked about how one time they got into a fight on Nic Cage's yacht, and Lisa Marie threw the engagement ring at him, and he caught it, and he tossed it into the ocean in a fit of rage. Like the heart of the ocean, like that old bag Rose Dawson from Titanic through the heart of the ocean back into the water. Nic Cage threw the diamond ring into the ocean off the Pacific, the Catalina Islands, Catalina wine mixer. And then he finally came to and actually hired divers to try to go locate it, which, of course, they were unsuccessful. So he bought her another ring, which ended up being a 10-carat diamond ring. They got married, and 3 months later, divorced. See you later. Now, this was back when Cage was spending exorbitant amounts of money. At the same time, his accountant was not paying taxes. And that's when he got into some trouble, and that's when he had to start making those made for streaming, made for Tubi only movies that people, have gained a cult following for how horrendous they are. So, anyway, that's the Cage fact. Moving on over to the Junction. Keep this ball rolling. Spin the logo up. I don't have. There's not a lot going on in my life right now worth talking about. Good stuff worth talking about. I got a whole. I'm in the trenches. Let's put it that I am very much in the trenches with the business and life. And I'm not mind you, I'm not complaining. This is not a help me situation. I like to share my life with you guys, with the ride or dies here in the LPDS. because it's a way for us to keep connecting. But I am very much in the trenches. I've talked about this in the past, even when I started this whole thing of going out on my own and making it on my own, accomplishing my goals, that this was going to happen. And it is very much happening. For a little while now, I am in the tough part of the trenches. And with that, there's not a lot of outside things happening in my life that would garner a lot of, stories and fun and funny things that go on that normally happen in the LPDS universe. I am very much wake up, work, gym, sticks sometimes. I was on a work trip from my part-time job this past week to Florida. I have other work trips scheduled in the next coming months that I'm not necessarily looking forward to because I don't make much extra money off of those after it's all said and done, and it takes me away from Spearhead and other things. But we're powering through. I got video issues going on where the video keeps freezing on this. I don't have the time right now, and it's not the highest priority for me to fix those. So if you're watching on YouTube land, you're going to see the screen freezing randomly. I don't know why. I don't have, again, the time to troubleshoot. Just happened to happen right now. So I apologize in advance for however long this happens. But my priority is Spearhead. And it's boring, and there's little tangible motivation for me to keep doing it because of the stage I'm in. I'm just constantly trying to reach out to people, build relationships, sending out countless DMs, phone calls, emails, whatever. And this is the part of the trenches where there's no immediate results. I'll send out 10, 20, 30 DMs in a day, and I know that there will be zero responses that day. So in the immediate situation, it seems like the work is not garnering, there's no progress being done. It seems like I'm just doing work to do work. And this is where most people quit because there's no immediate results. And sometimes there's no midterm results. Sometimes your process stinks. I am confident in my process. I have worked with many experienced entrepreneurs, mentors, coaches, friends, and family members, and they all agree. They've helped me build this process, and I am very confident in this process. The only problem with this process, as I take a drink every time you hear the word process, you'll be an alcoholic before you know it. The only problem I have with this whole thing is that there is no timeline on results. This is not one of those, hey, you do this for 2 months and you will get XYZ results. No, it's do this until you get the results you're looking for. And that could be 2 months. That could be 6 months. That could be 2 years. We don't know. I always go back to that analogy of that picture you see on the internet of the one guy digging in the tunnel looking for the diamond mine, who turns around and quits when he only has 2 more digs to go and the diamonds are there. And because he didn't know how much farther he had to go, he thought it was never going to end. So he turned around and walked away. And I always think back to that, and it reminds me just to keep digging. But unfortunately for all of you, that means there's not much else going on out there to talk about and poke fun at or whatever. All that being said, I still am in the midst of this undercover scam, check scam job situation. So I guess at the very least, we can talk about that. And I don't entirely remember where we left off the last time I discussed this. I believe I mentioned the fact that the scammer was said that they was going to send me a check, and my initial assessment was that he was going to eventually say, "Oh, there was a problem with the check. I need you to send me your bank information, and then I'll send you the money that you're owed." And then he was going to steal my bank information and steal from me. Well, I found out what the scam is because if you're looking in YouTube land, I got a check in the mail from the fraudster himself for just under $5,000. Now, here's where the scam comes in. And I've consulted with Wet Cat and Creature and Bone Crusher and all the other Brotherhood professionals out there. And what this scam is they send a fraudulent check. It's a bogus check. I'll talk about that in a second. And then they tell you you deposit that check. Now, in this day and age, most people are going to deposit that via their mobile device, mobile deposit. So you're going to deposit the check, and then they ask you the scammer asks you, okay, this was an overpayment, so you keep X amount, and I need you to send the rest of the money to somewhere else for whatever reason. For this particular instance, I was to keep $1,500 and send like I don't know $3,000 to quote unquote supervisors in the field, the construction field for this fake construction company. It had to be in a money order format, sent to this address that he gave me to get the money out so they could keep working on the project. Now, because it's a fraudulent check, if I were to deposit it, I send 3,000 out. The bank eventually sees that it's a fake check. They pull the money from my account, and there's no way for me to get that 3,000 back that I send out because that's a separate transaction altogether. So they get real money on the other end, and I'm out 3,000. And that fraud situation, even if I went through an investigation, I don't get money back. Nothing happens. They might catch the guy, but it doesn't do anything for me. That's what the scam is. Now, because I consulted experts, I didn't deposit the check. I didn't even sign it. Thankfully, I decided not to even sign it. I can use that money. My initial plan was like, if this was a real check, I'm depositing the check and then I'm cutting ties and keeping the cash and fucking the trick fucker. But fraud check. So even if I signed it and then reported it without even trying to deposit, or if I deposited it saying, hey, I think this is a scam, tried depositing it, because I signed it, now I'm embroiled in the investigation. I'm a person of interest because they could say, well, how do we know you're not the scammer and you're playing dumb? You're playing innocent victim. And I didn't want to, eventually I would have been cleared because I have all the receipts, but I didn't want to deal with that. So I brought it to the bank. Obviously, they concluded it was a fraudulent check. They made a copy for their internal investigations, filed a police report, and when the investigator calls me, whenever that is, I'm going to present them all the evidence and hopefully track this dude down. The address they gave me was to this bum house in this bum neighborhood in Illinois, like in the projects. So I knew right off the bat, I did my own investigation. Obviously, I'm doing my own undercover investigation. I saw that and I looked up the fake name that they gave, and it was like to some old fat woman who I don't know if that's the scammer or like the scammer's mom or what. Or they're using that address and they're just gonna the goal, their plan was to stake out that mailbox, and when the mail came, they were gonna grab the envelope and go. I don't know. We're gonna find out though. Because here's why. I haven't told the scammer that the jig is up yet. I informed him that I deposited the check, and then I sent the money order per his instructions to the supervisor in the field. The field happens to be these projects, I guess. What I did send was a glitter bomb with a little note that said, "Nice try on the scam. Tell the guy's fake name I said hi." Now that bomb is set to blow upon opening that envelope. It's a glitter bomb, not a real bomb. Glitter bomb. You open the card, glitter, rainbow glitter, blast into your face like a Bugs Bunny cartoon, like an Acme Dynamite. Instead of black ash on their face, it's going to be rainbow glitter, plaster on their face, hair poofed back. And that's what they're going to be waiting on. That's what they're going to be getting. Now, I am in the middle of slow rolling this scammer because he keeps hounding me. Send me the tracking number from the post office so that we can get confirmation so we know when the letter is being delivered. I didn't get a tracking number from the post office. I got an order number from the Glitter Bomb website and a general idea when it's going to be sent out there. So now, unfortunately, I'm going to try to use this analogy here. In the current times of war and with military technology, we can send precision-guided bombs and missiles to our enemies that we know exactly where it's going to hit, when it's going to hit, and to ensure that there's no collateral damage, no civilian casualties. Okay? We're going to, we wait for the target to be free and clear of civilian casualties, and when we take them out. In World War II, it was not like that at all. You had your target. You flew off of hand maps, paper maps, to where you assessed the target to be. And then you carpet bombed the shit out of that area, hoping that one of those 100 bombs hits the target, and you just lay a deluge of bombardment on there to increase your odds and be like, yeah, we probably got it. There's a high likelihood we at least got that as well because we dropped so many bombs on there. However, we did not have the strict no civilian casualties rules of war back in World War II, rules of engagement, law of armed conflict, what have you. So there was an understanding that there's going to be collateral here. Buildings, maybe people, that was war. That's what war is, unfortunately. That's what we're dealing with right now. I didn't spend the extra money for this to be first class mail so I can get a tracking number and a guaranteed date of delivery. So if the scammer is staking out the mailbox and it's not their actual home, there's a chance this innocent fat woman checks her mail and sees this letter and just gets blasted with glitter. And as you know, my thoughts on war, I hate war. It should be a last resort. And the reason for that is because I don't have time to care that much about collateral damage. If you bring me to the brink of war, if you declare war against me, it's all over. It's a last resort. You have pushed me to the absolute limit. Therefore, everything is on the table for me. And that unfortunately includes potentially this fat old woman that could be getting acme blasted with glitter at any moment. Now, I'm hoping that the scammer gets the letter, gets glitterized, and then responds to me via email to motherfuck you, this and this and that, and shit talk me, because now I know, oh, that he got. All right. And even though I didn't get money out of it and he didn't get caught and put in jail, not only did I waste his time, but I inconvenienced him in a way that is an absolute detriment in the first world here in America. Because as you know, glitter is impossible to clean up off yourself, off your carpets, off your anything. It is a first world nightmare situation when you get glitter everywhere. So I would know at the very least I was able to do that. And hopefully make this asshole rethink scamming people out of money like the immoral piece of shit that he is. And they do it under 5,000. These checks are under 5,000 to avoid felony charges. So what I'm really hoping too is throughout the police investigation, this guy is running scams with other people at the same time, and because it's under the same fake name and fake job and what have you, that these other scams get lumped in together, and that puts them over the felony line, the felony threshold, and they can catch him and send him away for a while. That's my hope. I can't control that, unfortunately. All I can do is make this guy's life as miserable as I possibly can from my computer and via mail glitter bombs. Glitter on the glitter Unabomber. Now, for anybody who finds themselves involved in check scams in the future, you're not going to be able to see it very well on YouTube land, but at the bottom of checks, you're not going to see the number, but there are serial numbers. There are different numbers at the bottom of checks. Most people know that it's routing number, account number. Okay? At the top right of a check is the check number, because you usually have a checkbook, and it's just numbered in sequential order. This is check number 5 of the book or whatever. I knew this was a fake basically as soon as I opened it, because there's no watermark on it. So that's an indicator right there. But then if you look at the numbers at the bottom, the routing number is not a real number because it's basically just the check number with a bunch of zeros in front of it. That's not what a routing number is, and it will never look like that. And then the account number itself is one number less than what this specific bank uses for account numbers, and it doesn't start with the same 4 bank identifier numbers that it has. Like most banks will start like 1436 is Chase Bank or whatever. I'm just making that number up. So all Chase Bank accounts will start 1436 and then whatever. This one doesn't do that at all. So there's a stamp on it now. The bank stamped it so that I can't go and try to check, cash it or deposit it somewhere else. Well, not that I would do that. This is evidence. But for the future, for anybody out there, that's what fake checks kind of look like these days. This is certainly no catch me if you can Frank Abagnale caliber check. Shit's garbage. So there's a good chance this is the end of the updates for this. Because I don't know if this guy will ever respond back to me. If he got the thing, I don't know if he'll ever get it. I don't know if he'll get it and realize it was me who sent it. Because if he's running this with other people at the same time, he can assume it's anybody who was involved in this that sent it to him. We don't know. I do know that he is not clever enough to come up with different aliases so that he knows for his own logs, like, oh, I'm running a scam as Joe Smith, I'm running a scam as Tony Riggs, I'm running a scam as John, McNutsack, whatever. Now, he's got a website for this fake company, and he uses the same picture and the same fake name, I'm telling you, for all the scams. I do know for a fact, based on the Better Business Bureau scam report that somebody submitted, that the only thing he does seem to change is the job title for the position that he's hiring for, the fake position. Because the person who reported their scam, it was a different job title. But everything else was the same. So maybe that's how he delineates between. Or because ZipRecruiter has busted him in the past, he changes the job title to at least get the posting out there before he gets popped again. So unfortunately, this might be the end of the updates. I am hoping this literally and figuratively blows up in his face and I find out about it so I can report back to you the victory. But this is one of the things about undercover operations, is that sometimes we never directly know how it ends. We do our duty for the greater good, the strategic greater good, and maybe years down the line we can indirectly point back to, oh, my efforts here in this undercover operation eventually led to all this. If I didn't do this back then, this would never have happened. That's what you can hope for. It's strategic level operations. So that's all I got to say about that. I do want to end on a high note, though, for all the Swifties out there. And I'll make sure I put chapters at the bottom of the YouTube video if people are watching on YouTube, for the Swifties to just skip to this part, because some of them were not happy in previous episodes where they had to listen to the whole episode before they got Swifty updates, even though I put chapters in every episode on YouTube, so they could have skipped. They just chose not to. So skip to this part, Swifties. Her new album came out, Life of a Showgirl. I listened to it. I listened to it one time in the gym. Here's what I'm going to say about it. Given the fact that I've only listened to it once and I was in the gym, let's put a caveat on. Those are all considerations that need to be considered. I enjoyed it. I need to go through it again to see how much I enjoyed it. It is not the number one album for me off of that first listen in the gym. I believe Reputation is a much more gym appropriate album for sure. It gets me pumped up a lot more for that. I also didn't have a chance to really listen to the lyrics and stuff. Now there are haters out there that are saying the lyrics are weak. They're kind of trashy, like Sabrina Carpenter-esque, a little too sexual for Taylor Swift Nation. Whatever, get over it, okay? If you don't like Taylor Swift, you're gonna find any reason to not like her. You're gonna pick apart, like I do with sports. You're gonna find the negative. You're gonna pick it apart. All right. from the melody of the songs and how they sounded, generally speaking, it was an enjoyable album for me. I do want to take the time eventually to go through it more in depth, to listen to the lyrics, to try to understand the stories behind the songs, because I enjoy that part of music as well, to see what the meanings are of songs, and also for, the Easter egg stuff, the lore and all that other shit that is fun about Swifty Land. And in general for me, I enjoy that stuff. I love a good investigative operation of sorts. Now, on top of this release, and this is something I can't currently dedicate time and effort to as much as I want to. And I would do this for any if the Yankees started doing the same thing, I would do the same. I would do it as well. I would look up the Easter eggs and the clues and all this other stuff. This Taylor Swift she's the one who does it now. She benchmarked this. She is she spearheaded this, if you will. This captivating her fan base through these different scavenger hunts and little Easter eggs and clues and fake clues and this and that and hidden meanings and all this stuff for her fan base to remain captivated. And she's sucked them in big time with this because she put out a little calendar of album release and then a whole bunch of other shit she's doing throughout the next week or so. And there's a little secret stuff snuck in there. And then even her posts of the album release itself have little secret elements that people are digging into. There is a current hunt going on for city names and doors that are being projected onto buildings in those cities, and you have QR codes on these projection images that go to videos on her YouTube page that provide future clues for something else that we don't know about, hidden messages in there that we don't know about yet. So she's got Swifty Nation on the case big time with all this stuff that we don't even know the meaning. It's not like, hey, follow these clues and you're going to get a documentary on my last tour. We're going to get another album, a secret album, or this or that. It's, hey, there's a bunch of clues. I'm not going to tell you what the clues are. I'm not going to tell you what they're for. But you're going to be happy about it. So get going. And that's what they're doing right now. And I'd like to be a part of that because it's enjoyable for me. But I can't right now. I am in the trenches, and I have to remain in the trenches. I cannot falter right now. I am in no position. I can absolutely not afford literally to get out of these trenches right now. I can't afford to do anything right now. So luckily, I have Mrs. Wetcat, the Catwoman, out there on the case. The creature has also been so kind as to commission one of his connections to do to report back their findings as well. So I'm still getting the updates, but I'm just not able to enjoy the hunt with them. It's like when you're playing on a sports team and you make it to the playoffs and then you break a leg and you're there in the dugout with them, but you can't be fully part of the journey. That's what I feel like I'm sidelined right now, but it's a voluntary sideline and it's an absolute necessary one. I have eyes on the prize. I am full throttle, full dig in the trenches mode. I have no choice. I have no safety net. My safety net's gone. My flashlight is slowly running out of light, and pretty soon I'm going to be pitch black in the trenches. So I have to press on until the diamond mine glows and brightens my world up, and everybody else's world too. Because let me tell you something. Once Spearhead takes off, everybody's going to the moon. All the LPDS universe members, we're all going to the moon. All the supporters, all the people that were actually there from the beginning. It's a rocket ship. Okay? I am just on the hunt for the fuel for that rocket ship. And it's only a matter of time. But because of that, I can't enjoy this nice, fun little scavenger hunt for Swifty stuff. So, there, I'm going to try to enjoy it as best I can with the findings I get reported, to me by kind friends who are providing those reports. And it's still fun to check them out. Like I get the reports. Oh, a new clue is found. This is where it goes. This is what it does. Oh, awesome. Keep me posted. I would like to do the red yarn. I'm a red yarn guy. You know me. God damn, this video is so annoying, freezing up for no reason. I have no clue why right now. Anyway, I'm a big red yarn guy. Pepe Sylvia, red yarn, beautiful mind. Love that stuff. The only thing that would make this better is if there was a stakeout involved. And Creature knows what I'm talking about when it comes to stakeouts. There's just something about a stakeout that I am on board with. And that'll be a future episode, actually, thinking about it out loud. I could talk about it. I can do a full Junction segment on the stakeout. Stakeout segment. I'll probably do that soon. But new album out, Taylor Swift album, Life of a Showgirl. Bunch of different CD versions just popped out as well. I'm sure merch will come out soon. She's doing interviews on shows. The clues are leading to things I don't know about yet. I'll keep you posted. I am predicting, at the very least, a documentary of her Eras tour, because it goes in line with this album, because she wrote this album and recorded it while she was on the Eras tour. So there's going to be behind the scenes that correlate to both the album and the tour itself. I think would be nice to put in a documentary. Apparently there was a lot of filming going on that tour by her team, so they have a lot of footage. Why? Could be for a documentary. My theory is documentary. And I think the Swifties would like that. I hesitate to call myself a Swiftie, not because I don't want to be lumped in with those people, but because I'm new in the game. I just enjoy, again, like I mentioned in previous episodes, I enjoy her marketing abilities. I enjoy her focus on her fans, and I appreciate her dedication to her craft. She's a billionaire, but she didn't get to be a billionaire because she wanted to be a billionaire. She got there because she wanted to put out music that meant something to her. And there's going to be a lot of people who say, oh, her music stinks, so she did all that effort for nothing. Well, it's art, okay? And as we know, art is very subjective. There are plenty of paintings out there that are worth millions of dollars that I think I can do by putting a paintbrush in my ass crack and painting the same exact thing. Yet this person is a millionaire artist, a renowned artist. So it's all subjective. And also, mind you, there are plenty of people who like her music that led her to her success. But regardless, she likes her music. That's what she focuses on. Putting out music that she likes, that means something to her, that comes from her life and her heart and her efforts. And if the people like it, great. If not, I still think she would have been satisfied and happy with what she's done. But billions of people love her stuff. And her focus on her fans to keep them enjoying her. Those two things right there, the fact that she focuses on her music and her fans, the reason why she's so successful, and she realizes that, elevate her to all new levels. If you look at the numbies right off the bat from this album release, most streams in a day on Spotify. She put out 2 versions of the album a clean version, and then the explicit with actual curse words and stuff in it. Now, normally when you do something like that, people pick one or the other, and they just listen to that one. So one album, it actually cuts down the total streams for a particular album or song because there's two versions out there. So it's technically two albums on Spotify. She had 23 of the top 24 songs streamed in a day upon album release. That means people were listening to both albums, not picking one or the other. They were listening to both. And the number one song and the number two song were the explicit version of, I forgot, Fate of Ophelia, and the clean version of Fate of Ophelia. Millions of streams, top two. And in the last couple days of the album release, that put her over the top as now the number one most streamed or most sold female artist in the history of music. She just finally got bumped over Madonna. Previously, I talked about how she was just under Madonna for female artists, female musicians. She just overtook Madonna. That was 4 weeks ago I talked about that. In a month, she overtook her as a number one. And I think that puts her in the top 5, maybe even top 3 of all musicians all time. So for all the haters out there, or even just the people who think she's bland, that's your personal preference. All I do is I ask, you're not going to believe this, but my internet crapped out just now, mid-thought, after I was just talking about the pile of shit going on in the trenches right now at the LPDS compound. Luckily, the episode it was saved, so we're just gonna finish strong. We're gonna press on. We're gonna adapt, improvise, overcome, and finish strong. Because that's what we do here at the LPDS. We always stay strong. That being said, what I was trying to say and recommend to the Swifty haters, the Taylor Swift haters, and the people that are just blah about, don't care about it, don't think she's that great, and don't have that much of a feeling for her. All I recommend is that if you feel the urge to send a hate and make troll comments on different people's posts and demean people who are Swifties who are into that, take the LPDS step back and just remove yourself from that situation. Just don't do it. Okay? Because you're not just, ruining someone else's day. You're going to ruin your day. Living in the negative is never good. Okay? So you're allowed to hate and dislike. There are plenty of things I don't like. I also, like I said, and I admit, I am not high up on the Swifty Nation hierarchy. As far as I'm a top fan. I love her stuff. I like her for the reasons I just mentioned. Agnostic of the caliber of her songs and music and what have you. But I'm not sitting there hating on people who think that she's God's gift to vocal cords. Good for you. That's awesome. I like her for other reasons. At the end of the day, I like her. We're in this together. We can still be pals. But for the people who hate, cool. You're allowed to just move on with your life. Don't waste the effort being a shitty person about it. Just don't follow the people who are obsessed with her. I don't know. Put your phone away. It's not that difficult to remove yourself from the hustle and bustle that's going on with Taylor Swift right now. Don't forget, again, I had no idea about any of this stuff until recently. Not because I hated her, Just because, like, it's easy. All I'm saying is it's easy to find a way to get out of stuff you don't want to be in. I didn't have a desire to be part of the nation. I didn't know about the Easter eggs and the scavenger hunts and the business side of the things that she's good at that I like. I was fully removed, and that world was non-existent to me. Now it is for good reasons for me, positive reasons for me, but it's not that difficult to remove yourself from that. So if you're a hater, you don't like her, you're tired of seeing all this stuff, hit me up in the DMs. Hit the hotline at 202-670-1114 and ask me, hey, or let me know, hey, I'm trying to get out of this. I'm a hater, but I don't want to be a piece of shit to people. Help me remove myself from the world. I can help you minimize the chatter for anything, really, not just Swifty Nation, but I can help you get out of it so you can focus on more positive, productive things with your lives. All I ask is you just don't be an asshole about it. Okay? I know it makes people feel good sometimes to be the text message tough guy, but whatever. Anyway, good for Taylor Swift and the Swifty Nation. They're hot on the trail for all the scavenger hunts and Easter eggs and puzzles and clues and what have you. So I'm excited to see where it turns out. And that's all I got to say about that. Before we go, or before the internet cuts out and the video craps out on me again, the big three. The 3 pillars to staying strong and being a better, happier, kinder, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being, being able to spread that positivity and goodness to all those around you throughout the land. Number 1, exercise every day. Do something every day to exercise yourself physically, mentally, or emotionally. Whether it's a workout at the gym, a physical activity of sorts, or breaking the mental sweat, doing puzzles, learning a new language, breaking the emotional sweat, praying, yoga, breath work, what have you. Exercise every day. Do something every day to improve yourself physically, mentally, or emotionally. Number 2, the hardest one to do, we just talked about it. Don't be a shitty person, be a kind person. When the opportunity arises to be negative and shitty, or to just initiate a post on social media that you know is going to create controversy and anger with people, take the LPDS step back, detach from those negative emotions, and just remove yourself from the situation. And that could be as simple as closing out Instagram without posting that thing. Putting your phone down, closing your laptop, going for a walk, walking away from somebody who's being a dick to you. That way you remove yourself from the negativity, you minimize the negativity going on around you and in the ether, and you allow yourself the capacity to go focus on more positive, productive things with your lives. And I say it's the hardest thing because in the moment, it is absolutely the hardest thing. I struggle with it on a daily basis, so I get it. Number 3, the most important one, be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your lives. And you can do this, you can start doing this by thinking of one good thing each and every day, or one good thing that happened to you in the last 24 hours, and then thinking about what your life would be like without that. How much worse your life would be without that. And that will put you in the state of gratitude. And from there, you can act on that. You can go choose kindness. You can go pay it forward with somebody else, or to somebody else, or for somebody else. And when you're in that state of gratitude, it's a lot easier to not be a shitty person. And when you're not a shitty person, you have the capacity to go do more positive, productive things with your lives, like exercising every day. And if you do those 3 things a little bit each and every day, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, I promise you'll be a better, happier, kinder, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being, be able to spread that positivity and goodness to all those around you throughout the land. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Put your notifications on. Tell your friends and enemies. Hit that hotline, 202-670-1114. If you're a Swifty and you have some information for me to keep me updated on the hunt for all the clues and stuff, hit that hotline. If you're a hater and you need help removing yourself from the Swifty universe, hit that hotline. If you have any random questions, random comments, random topic ideas for me to discuss you want to hear about, random jokes, random comedy bits you want to try out, Hit the hotline, 202-670-1114. I love the hotline. Call it in with anything you want. You can even troll me on the hotline. People have done it in the past, and it creates great fun. 202-670-1114. Thank you guys again. I love you all. Stay strong.